I don't know why that's funny. I mean, did you have any in-person briefings? I don't find it funny at all.
I said I had some questions for Hillary Clinton that I would love to hear asked. And if I ever had the chance, she would never appear on this program, and I would never be invited to be a moderator. But if either happened, I have a list of questions here. And they're not complicated. They just haven't been asked. Mrs. Clinton, when you were Secretary of State, why did you let a Russian company purchase 1/2 of the United States uranium reserves in coordination with your and your husband's foundation? How much money was donated by Russian companies to your foundation in exchange for your moving half of our uranium supply to Kazakhstan? Mrs. Clinton, when you worked for the State Department, how did you conduct secret classified business without using a secure email server? And don't say it's a mistake that you won't do again, because you still had to conduct business. How did you conduct secret classified business on your public server? What kind of assault weapons were we funneling through Benghazi? And where were we sending them before Ambassador Stevens was murdered? Mrs. Clinton, why were you interested in the overthrow of Bashar al-Assad in Syria? Mrs. Clinton, when you left the White House after your husband's last term as president in the year 2000, why did you steal $200,000 worth of furniture and china and artwork that you were forced to return? Mrs. Clinton, when you were Secretary of State, why did you solicit contributions from foreign governments to your family foundation after you promised President Obama you would not? Mrs. Clinton, why do you and your husband claim to contribute millions of dollars to charity for a tax write-off when it goes to your family foundation that gives less than 15% of the money you collect? And you use the balance to support yourself tax-free. How do you do that? How could other Americans set up similar arrangements as you have? What would you tell them? Mrs. Clinton, why are you unable to account for $6 billion of State Department money that seemed to have disappeared while you were Secretary of State? Mrs. Clinton, you said you were broke when you left the White House, but you purchased a $2 million home. You built an addition for the Secret Service. You charged taxpayers of the United States rent in an amount equal to the entire mortgage. Why did you say you were broke? Mrs. Clinton, how is it your daughter Chelsea can afford to buy a $10.5 million apartment in New York City after you left the White House when you were broke? I might throw that one out. I might leave out the question about the daughter. Mrs. Clinton, Mrs. Clinton, could you tell the average American how their child could get a $600,000 a year job at NBC with no experience like your daughter did? That's a better one, right? That's a better one. Yeah, because at 10.6, that comes from the Ms. Vinskys. You know, so she married it. So, but yeah, the $600,000 a year, and it, not having done it before. Mrs. Clinton, why did you lie to the American people about the terror attack in Benghazi, but you managed to tell the truth to your daughter the same night that it happened? Mrs. Clinton, why did you lose, or why did you fail the bar exam in the District of Columbia? Why did your husband lose his law license? Take your time, Mrs. Clinton. We're here for a couple of hours. I mean, this is just scraping the surface. I mean, there's all kinds of other things that could ask. But these are the kinds of things that are asked of Trump that are not asked of her. is my point. Okay, yeah, okay, do that. Mrs. Clinton, for the past 2 weeks, we have been treated to accounts of Donald Trump and his supposedly abusive treatment of women, many of whom have now been exposed as not having told the truth. Why did you feel it necessary to tarnish the reputations of women who had alleged that your husband had abused them, and in one case, raped them? Tell us about the Bimbo Eruptions unit that helped your husband survive as president. I mean, any number of ways you could go with this. That, you know, Trump is routinely asked about that she's not. That's the point that I'm trying to make. I mean, the questions, you know, they're not specific here. They're generic just to indicate there are all kinds of places, all kinds of areas that the moderators are not going with Mrs. Clinton. No, I wouldn't ask her what her relationship is with Huma. No, I wouldn't touch on that. That's inside stuff. I don't think the vast majority of people even know who Huma is, and so I would leave Huma alone. I might express condolences. Would you pass on my sincere feelings for Mrs. Danger over the embarrassment of her husband and sending pictures of his nakedness to teenagers? It's a terrible thing, and we feel for her. Would you pass that on for us? Thank you. Nah. Look, I'm trying to keep this above board here. This is. See how, with the Clintons, you see how easy it is to get to the gutter if you want to go there? Mrs. Clinton, you made $21 million in 2 years giving speeches to, among others, Wall Street banks, often at $250,000 per 30-minute speech, and in some cases, $350,000. Why is Wall Street the problem, and why are you in such close relationships with Wall Street, and what are they expecting for what they paid you? Somehow get the question out there, tie her to the close relationships she has with Wall Street, while her voters think that she's out to destroy Wall Street. And some of the WikiLeaks document dumps indicate how close she is to these bankers. Lloyd Blankfein at Goldman Sachs, just one example.